Welcome back to another edition of the Armchair Illini Podcast. My name's Alex. Glad to be here with you guys today. Thank you guys for making the Armchair Illini Podcast a part of your day and for listening. If you're new here, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We got a whole bunch of offseason content coming your way as the 2026 offseason comes through. Today, we have a very special episode because we're going to be talking about one of Illinois basketball's most talented freshmen in their class of 2026. They got a really, really good recruiting class, but one of my favorite players is guard Lucas Morillo. Lucas Morillo, four-star prospect. He's just continued to rise ever since he committed to Illinois. And I think he's going to be a heck of a player. We got some news today that he is playing in the Nike Hoop Summit over in Portland, Oregon. There's been so many talented players that's played through that. Lucas Morillo has gotten some measurables too. So we're going to talk about his likely performance in the Hoop Summit and how he fits into the Illinois basketball roster as a whole heading into the 2026 and 2027 season. As always, joined by my good friend, Robby Nardini. Robby, what are your thoughts on Lucas Morillo, and what do you think about him playing in this Nike Hoop Summit over in Portland?
Yeah, it's awesome that he's playing in the Nike Hoop Summit coming up here tomorrow night on Saturday night. There's a lot of great players that play in that summit. I know we had David Mirkovic play last year. Kasparas Siakachonis playing it. They usually have a USA versus World, competition here in Portland. And Lucas just really has risen in the recruiting rankings since Illinois has gotten him. You know, he's a four-star prospect now, but I think he's ranked like 58th in the composite. So he's risen a lot. And, Illinois kind of found him out of nowhere. He wasn't ranked highly beforehand, and he's really grown into a really nice player, had a really good senior season at the Newman School. And I'm just excited for, more basketball coming up on Saturday. You would think the off season is a little bit slower for us, but just with the portal and the summit and freshmen coming in, we always got something to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. They found him, like you said, at kind of a time where he wasn't really blowing up as much, but now he is a top 60 prospect per at least every single reputable recruiting site. Chose Illinois over offers from UCLA, Texas, Minnesota, and Marquette. He's 6'7", a little bit under 6'7", if you will, if you look at the measurables, but he'll be playing the Nike Hoop Summit tomorrow on April 11th. The time, I believe, let me just pull it up here, is 7 o'clock Pacific time. So good luck to all of those, especially on the Eastern Coast. But if you have Peacock, be sure to tune in and see what Lucas Morillo has to offer. And I think he's very, very talented with his size, ability to kind of spray the ball and initiate offense. What is some of the in the past, some very talented players have played in the Nike Hoop Summit. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been some great talent in the Nike Hoop Summit, especially the last few years. Last year was a lot of the good freshmen played on the USA team: Nate Ament, DeBonza, Cameron Boozer, Mikael Brown Jr., Darius Akoff. That was a starting lineup for the USA team, and they're all going to be top 10 draft picks probably. So, that's a crazy year. They had Trey McKinney coming off the bench. I know it's a crazy freshman class. So, not the best example just for most years, but even the world team last year had Dame Sar, Omer Meyer, of course, David Mirkovic. Mirk played really well in last year's Hoop Summit. That was kind of the first time Illinois fans, after he committed, could really see him play on, I guess, live TV. You see videos and highlights and everything. But David last year played 15 minutes in that game, went 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 3 from free throw, and had 3 rebounds. So in a really loaded, talented roster, he played really well last year, and I'm hoping we get a similar kind of game from Lucas Morillo. And even in 2024, Cooper Flagg was playing in it. Some other really good players that got drafted too. I think Marillo was in that game, VJ Edgecombe, and that was the world team. The USA team had Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, Asa Newell. Those are all NBA players. So even Merez Johnson Jr. played in 2024 too. So all the top prospects are playing in it. Would love to attend the event one time, but it's a late tip, so I don't know if you're going to be watching it, but it kind of worked out for me. Got my sister's birthday dinner on Saturday, and afterwards I'll probably try to tune in. Sasha won't be too happy, but I want to see some future freshmen play some basketball.
Yeah, there's nothing like tuning into the Nike Hoop Summit after your sister's birthday party, right? So Lucas Morillo, just want to talk about him though specifically, because like I said, he's part of a very talented freshman class, and there may be some more in this class too. Tune into some of our content regarding the official visitor this weekend. But Lucas Morillo, during his 2025 senior season, averaged 17.4 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.8 steals per game. That is per maxpreps.com. He can play on and off the ball, which is I think is really impressive. He's multi-positional. He's a big guard, and I think Illinois, kind of like how Keaton Wagler was used, he's a bigger guard as well. They could use Marillo in a similar fashion because he's got the ability to initiate offense while also get his own. I think he's underrated defensively. He's got a nice wingspan at the guard spot. So if he does end up playing the one or the two, I think that Marillo could actually, play right away, especially with Keaton Wagler likely leaving this roster, Kylan Boswell graduating. You only have, a lot of freshmen, Quentin Coleman as well. The biggest downside to Murillo's game is that he's not the best shooter. He does have a decent looking stroke, but he only made about 20% of his 3-point attempts in the 2025 EYBL season. So do you expect Lucas Murillo to be a factor during his freshman season? Obviously, there's some factors to play out. There's some transfers that Illinois is going after, and even some more prospects in the class of 2026 that they're going after. But do you think Murillo could have an impact during his freshman season?
Yeah, of course, depends who we get. Obviously the John Blackwell news saw today that's Duke, Illinois, kind of the front runners right now, and I'm sure we'll get another guard. And of course, we got Coleman coming in, late addition to the team that we landed Final Four weekend. But I still think Morello's going to get some time with this team, no matter who's on the squad. I think he's a 6'7", really good guard. Played with Quit Costello, who I actually saw play in the Under Armour circuit here in Chicago for the Newman School. Really good prep school. They won the state championship and a lot of awards for the Newman School just over the years. So I believe he averaged 17 and change, 17.4 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, 5.5 assists. I mean, that stat line is an all-around type player for the Newman School, and I think he could just provide that for Illinois too. Like you said, big guard, isn't the best shooter, but he's a physical type player, can get to the line really well. I'm sure he can develop a shot too. I do think he's a little bit underrated now. I think before we got Coleman, people thought he would play a lot. And since we gotten Coleman, maybe getting, Vox or Blackwell, whoever we get, I still think Morello will get some time. As you can see, he's playing in the Hoop Summit with, a ton of good players. And he's been one of the biggest risers too. In the EYBL, he kept making, second team, third team, throughout the weekend. So he continues to produce. And I really think he's going to get a lot of tick for this Illinois team.
Yeah, Jamie Shaw on Three Sports and Rivals is very, very high on Lucas Morillo, just because he does everything on the court. And I think Jamie Shaw really mentioned that, he could rebound really, really well for his size, but he's a really, really good playmaker. When he played for the Dominican Republic national team, actually, the FIBA U19, he averaged 4.3 assists per game, and he has really good size at his floor or at his position. And he could run your offense, which I think is really, really going to be important, especially when you got bucket getters like a Quentin Coleman, maybe a John Blackwell, things like that. So Murillo could very well be the initiator of the Illini offense because Quentin Coleman is more of a scorer, and you need an initiator. Just look at how kind of Keaton Wagler and Kylan Boswell complemented each other. So he's definitely a triple double threat because he can do pretty much anything on the floor, kind of like how Marcus Damask was for Illinois a couple years ago, where you had maybe a bigger guard that was not as athletic or as much of a knockdown shooter, but just provided really, really stable ball handling, good rebounding, can make great decisions with the ball in his hands, and then get his own shot and use his physicality and his size to play a little booty ball. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Illinois, Tyler Underwood use Lucas Morillo heading into the 2026-27 season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. Obviously excited for Saturday. And it's actually interesting on this Nike Hoop Summit roster. He's listed as a point guard at 6'7", just kind of crazy. I view him more as like a big guard, not really a point guard. But like you said, he can pass, can make a mid-range jumper too. Maybe isn't the best 3-point shooter, but definitely not, incapable of making shots. But he is listed as a point guard, 18 years old, 6'7". And there's a lot of Division I players on this world team too. You know, Adams going to North Carolina, Ariza to Oregon, Huan, actually, who we recruited a little bit, who committed to Purdue. He's from China. He's 7 foot. He should be a really good player and just some loaded talent on this team. It's really exciting to see how he's going to play. And I'm sure the USA team is lowered as well with Division I talent. So we'll see who ends up getting the dub. But it's interesting that he's listed as a point guard, and like you said, he's one of those guys that can bring the ball up if needed, kind of being a secondary ball handler, can pass, and is an underrated defender too. You already said that, but I think he doesn't get enough credit for his physicality and defensive ability. So I'm really excited where we use him. We'll see this summer how he's doing, how he's coming along, and where he'll be in the rotation. But could be another one of those guys that plays a little bit more as a freshman than you think.
Yeah, I think because you need a guy that is a little bit heady, if you will. You never want a score first freshman to be kind of the head of your ship. Obviously, we had Keaton Walker, so it was a little bit different, but you never want to put that much pressure, and you want guys that can also initiate offense outside of the main ball handler. So I think Lucas Morillo is a great fit in that regard. And defensively, you see that Brad Underwood likes to play freshmen that are ready to defend. Keaton was really, really good in the NCAA tournament defending the ball. You saw the job that he did on Kingston Flemings. I thought that was, something that really certified his NBA draft stock. Any final thoughts about Marillo and the Nike Hoop Summit before we put a cap in this one?
Nothing really. I just think this, Lucas Morillo is a classic Coach O recruit, Dominican, New York, played for a New York AAU team, lives in Boston now, East Coast type of guy. So really just a Coach O masterpiece. Hopefully, again, one of the best recruiting assistant coaches in the history of the game, may I add. He's recruited at Kentucky at a high level with Coach Cal, and this guy just fits the bill of the East Coast ties. And you mentioned playing on the Dominican national team. So hopefully we get another gem from Coach O. And yeah, I'm excited for the game and looking forward to more transfer portal news as well.
Yes, definitely. And be sure to tune in if you do have Peacock. I know it's kind of frustrating to have that, but tomorrow, April 11th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I think that's 9 o'clock for most of you Central Standard Time people, 10 o'clock if you're on the East Coast or in, kind of east of Illinois, if you will. So, yeah, really excited for this and really excited for what's to come. It's kind of an agonizing wait because Illinois hasn't gotten, any kind of news of like returning or even leaving. So I think we're in that kind of angst phase because we've seen even Michigan get some guys, lose some guys. And with Illinois, they're very confident about their retention, but there's a lot to be played out and things can switch in an instant. We do know that Illinois is in the top two, at least as of now, for John Blackwell, Wisconsin guard between Illinois and Duke. Do you like Illinois' chances there if it truly is an Illinois versus Duke kind of shootout for John Blackwell?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, going up against Duke is never really a good thing usually. I think it'll kind of depend on if Isaiah Evans comes back too, or what guys on Duke come back, like Dame Sarr as well. Those are guard wing type players for Duke, so I think that'll have a huge impact. But we got as good a chance as any. His dad played for Illinois. He's obviously talking to us, or his agent is at least, and it sometimes comes down to money. Hopefully, fit and family ties prevail. If we can't cough up as much money as Duke, but we got a good chance as any. And I'm hoping for some news, just maybe like I'm back by Merck or Jake Davis, something just to get me over the hump of these next couple of days. But it sounds like they're doing meetings right now with every individual, kind of finding their fit and everything. So it'll play out soon. Definitely getting impatient. I think we both agree we're definitely impatient in this process right now.
That is correct. So, Illini fans, thank you guys for tuning in, making the Armchair Illini podcast a part of your day. Again, DM me for any feedback you guys have or anything that you guys would like to see throughout this very long offseason. But Lucas Marillo, one of the most talented freshmen, will be playing tomorrow in the Nike Hoop Summit on April 11th. So tune into that. We'll be covering it all. And all the latest recruiting news on Armchair Illini. Check out all of our social media pages. Follow Robby Nardini on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well. Illini fans, appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys soon. I'll